Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay, good night, good night, good night, good night. Let me see if we get things live. Let's see what's popping tonight. Good night, everybody. Welcome to. Well, tonight is not actually one particular show. We're using the format for that the Black Marriage and Family time slot to get ourselves back in the groove and to be able to um, let's get things popping. So first, I want to welcome everybody to tonight. Um, we are here live. Just got to find everything. It's been a while. It's been almost so long that I forgot how to do all of this stuff. That's how long it's been. Um, but what I do want to do is definitely welcome everybody tonight to the return of the show's Fatherhood Think Tank. We've been away for I think our last show might have been check the records. I know that's not true. About 9 months ago, it had been that long ago. I think. But nevertheless, we are back here, um, ready to get back to what we need for fathers and families. And then we have, Thursday night is the Black Family and Therapy, Black Marriage and Family show with myself, and I will definitely be getting my crew to come and and join us, and we'll be really going to be doing some wonderful things. Um, well, it looks like we've got one of our first guests. I want to bring them on and see if they have any questions or comments, and just to see how they're doing. Hello, good night. Hello, good night. Welcome to. You coming either for one of the shows. This is a combined show tonight. The Fatherhood Think Tank or the Black Marriage and Family show. Um, trying to see it. Can you see that one? Guess not. Okay, so can you? Uh, um, okay, so it's no conversation for that. All right, so get back to what I was saying. If you, brother, if you want to ask a question, want to join the conversation, you definitely can. Um, without no doubt, we are here and we are rolling. Um, all Look at some comment. Let me see. Oh look! Oh look! Thanks, Tyler. Yes, we are. We are back, my brother. We are back. Tyler Washington says, "Congratulations, welcome back," and we will be. Hopefully, we will be seeing you or having your presence on the Thursday night. I know it's a tight ship you're running over there, but marriage and family definitely need your correspondence on that show as normal. So we look forward, and even if the case you can, pop on to in a little while, just pop right on, and we'll be. I'm gonna be here. I'm going to spend the whole 90 minutes kind of just talking and going through some of the topics that we'll be going through, kind of even explaining some of the format, how the shows operate. Um, and I think one of the big parts is even calling them shows because they're not really shows. They're not. I want to get so far away from this idea of a show type of thing because when you have a show, that kind of means that you have actors, or you have producers and things of that nature. And it's not. This is this whole um, platform that I provided, or that I'm developing and that I'm going to be sharing, is really based on the work I've been working on, actually about the last 30 years, um, in all the ways of being a mentor, an educator, and a therapist, and utilizing those skills, and the resources and my colleagues that have been very helpful in this world to kind of present those same things, to people who are definitely in our community who who maybe need to have a little bit of a different conversation than the one they're hearing, on social media and types of things. I mean, that's so. One of the difficulties of this is when you are trying to be, I guess, a content creator. I don't really consider myself a content creator. I just consider myself a mentor, educator, therapist who records. Sometimes records what I do. And in all of those settings, in my real world, we sometimes record, because recording allows you the opportunity to, in many instances, have a conversation, evaluate what you've said and what you've done, and is it really what's best for people? Good for yourself, or does it even have a really good value? And so that is one of the big parts of what this is really going to be looking at, and how we're going to be kind of pushing this whole thing out to society. Um, I I came tonight because I've been procrastinating bringing the platform back, and when you are procrastinating bringing the platform back, you then begin to say, "Hey, I'm kind of like how the shows operate. I'm kind of not. If I don't go, if I just don't go, if I don't get up and go and do it, it will die." And um, I don't want it to die because I think it has been very useful. And then again, a lot of people involved in this whole thing have in many instances have been very anxious about, like, when are we going to get back together? When are we going to start having our conversations? When are we going to start doing these things again? And a big thing for me was I had to even get myself in a place to be able to do it. I mean, I think when I initially started this, and um, COVID, it started in like 2020. But I was already doing this in live fashion. So, when I think about the Fatherhood Think Tank, I was already processing and doing fatherhood meetings in live capacities, in South Florida at multiple locations every night of the week. So, so to be able to kind of like transfer this over to um, just the video version, and be able to provide that um, to the masses and to people who would have maybe not seen or been able to view this, it definitely becomes something that is far more appreciative and something that we can enjoy. Um, so I definitely welcome that in a big part. Um, I would when I well, let me tell you how we got to this other aspect of the Thursday night show at 7 o'clock, Black Marriage and Family. And I'm just, one of the big things I really want to share with people is that as a marriage and family therapist, um, a lot of times we spend a lot of our energy and time in counseling and therapy talking about people having diagnoses and people having deficits or problems. And we don't really, a lot of people don't practice or come from a strength-based, solution-oriented practice as I do. So I don't really focus much on problems. I look at causations and how we've been able to resolve some of that without making it a centerpiece of being a problem. So one of the things I definitely plan on, and we're looking at being able to do, is bringing back hopefully that team that was the team from, if you know, from back in the day, we had Therapy Thursday. Um, Bringing that team back, but really only focusing on marriage and family, and in a like, and I'll tell you that when you have a show or something like this, it should be a mission, there should be a goal, there should be something that you plan to do. It's very clear. Fatherhood think tank its mission, its goal is very clear. It is to to support fathers, to empower men to be better fathers, to give fathers a safe place to even talk about it, to give an opportunity for even for mothers or other family members to hear fathers in some sense that they may have not or even seen them in a light of a difference. So kind of putting that as a big part of the play. So completely on the other end, marriage and black marriage and family is a lot more looking at the structure of the family. As we look at a lot of the problems that face, and I'm seeing now in my present work um, with young people, with children, where a lot of their problems come from, and where they develop and then begin to manifest themselves into who they become, and then transition itself into other people, and what have you, is basically in many instances from the idea of their family. There is so much that we don't take account for, that learned behavior. One of the things I learned in my time of working in domestic violence, power and control, was the theory and idea of learned behavior. And we know about learned behavior because we look at Erickson, Freud, and those types of theorists that come up with the ideas of where we learn to be, what's our motivation for things. But a lot of times we don't spend a lot of time of really pinpointing how do we become who we become, and sometimes it's related to who we are, but a lot of times it's related to who we watched and how we watched them do what they do, and we at some point contribute to that and help that blossom. So my hope is for us on that show to be able to really, really, move some things into a a way that can help our people. And again, this is, again, it's Black marriage and family. It's not like, oh, nobody else can listen, but the focus and the energy and the idea is really focused on the nuclear Black family, who has a very unique experience and a unique dynamics that needs to be explored and even at sometimes not only explored but to be evaluated and worked on. And it's so funny that these two shows coming back, and they're coming back now in during April. There is a reason it happened in April. April is my my month, my birthday month, and so definitely it became a thing where this will definitely be where this is going to go down. So we pushed it directly to that place and time. Um, so never want to let that slide or go by the wayside. Um, uh, so one of the big things about this is how can you see this? Where can you see this at? Um, where's the places to view? So you can view um, these shows. Again, one is on Wednesday night, the other is on Thursday, both at 7 o'clock. Um, you can view them from my personal Facebook page. But I really would push and really push people to go towards the um, Facebook page. Let me pull that up. I really would push people to go over to um, the Fatherhood Think Tank Facebook page. I really want to bring that energy, those things over to that page. We also have a YouTube page, so that's the other place that you can watch these shows, watch Fatherhood Think Tank at least. And then on the other end, you probably will, see um, Black marriage and family. You can really only see that on my own personal Facebook page, as well as going to um, the YouTube page that's created for that. And that's again my personal. That is the mentor, educator, therapist, and Black father YouTube pages. So those are the locations for you to be able to watch and be able to see these shows. And I say this right now, these shows are going to be dynamic. They're going to be something that I would say if you wonder how they're going to be, what it's like, should you waste your 90 minutes to log on, or should you waste some 90 minutes to watch the video at another time, or what have you? I would definitely say if you want to know, before next Tuesday, go to these pages. You can go over to the YouTube page. You can go to my own personal Facebook page, on the Facebook pages, and look at the old videos that are already there. What you will begin to see and begin to understand is what kind of conversation we were having in Fatherhood Think Tank, what types of conversation we were having at Therapy Thursday, the team that was there. We're going to kind of bring that same team involved, but we're going to, in many instances, really talk and be very specific with the topics that we talk about on there. I think if you watch the last few, you know, towards the end of every Thursday, we had a series of Black marriage and family, and when we brought on couples that we talked to, and we kind of talked to them what was successful and what wasn't successful. And this was Black couples who had been married at at a variety of different time frames, and some who were married before and got divorced and got remarried. And a big part of that to me is being able to, you know, you want to say and see success. I work with a group of kids right now, and they were, as I would like to say, they were get them out of here. They was like, get them out of here, kids. I'm not if I got to teach them, oh, they're too bad, they're too this, they're too that, and when I came in, my mindset for everything is to look at the strengths that we have. Look at what is empowering. What do they have that is the best resource? And once that happened, you see amazing things happen with that. That same thing happens with families. Same thing happens with couples. Same thing happens with children. If we look for the best, we advocate the best for them. We want the best for them. Most of the time, that is what we're going to usually get, and how things are going to operate. Again, if you would like to come on the platform, have a little conversation with me, or even if you want to write some questions on whatever platform you're watching, I'm here. I'm able to see them. This is the time to have the kind of like flush things out, let you know what it's about, what this is going on. Even if you haven't, listen, if you're brave, as long as you don't, go too far. If it's something you just want to ask right now, that you're saying, hey, what do I think about this? How do I manage something like this? Um, that's something we definitely can look at right at this moment. I have the time. Like, hey, I have. Listen, I'm committed for 90 minutes of this. I already booked it in my schedule for Tuesdays for fatherhood and Thursday for Black marriage and therapy. Around my own clients that I have, around my own time of preparing for my day work, and I just, one of the things I just know that it's important that people may feel like, hey, um, where do I get in? How do I come in? Again, if you are interested in coming in on one of the whatever platform you're watching, just let me know, and I'll hit you an inbox introduction to come onto the platform, um, because that's the best way to do it. I know some people are shy; they don't show their face when they're talking about stuff. Sometimes they don't even want to even be knowledge, but they do want to be able to have a conversation. So I definitely welcome that, because this is a platform that is for you. That, again, I'll say this: it's the kind of platform that many people may not really think about that is needed. Because I think we are getting this kind of warped idea of what family therapy is, and how it operates, and what it looks like, and how it plays out. And in a big sense, for me, I want to say to many people that, hey, be mindful of, when you're looking at what this means, what it doesn't mean, how it operates, is you can, um, at many points, um, find out, what you may need and what you don't need by just talking it out. I'm not saying that I have that, as a therapist or educator or mentor, I have all the answers, but I do have, I have the skills to kind of maybe walk you through some of the ideas, some of the things that may be what you haven't thought about. And I think that's a big part. And sort of almost like, you know, what other people may not tell you. Like we all know we have a friend that, um, we have those friends that we may go get advice from. We may talk to them. We may, you know, uh, all types of things with them, only to only to kind of find out later that their advice maybe it had not been the advice that we should have got. Maybe it wasn't sound. Maybe it was even just dangerous for us to even take that advice. And so, one of the big things I always like to say to people is advice is not what I give. I give you the option to think about how to establish your own advice because you are the one who has a lot of time to deal with whatever consequences. As a couple, when couples deal, they have to deal with. Couples have to deal with, what they have to deal with on their own. It's not like, you might have this person who becomes a mediator, uh, how they're going to open, how they're going to manage things, but a lot of times that's not how it all plays itself in the mix. So I see. Let's see. Um, I was. I'm gonna be very transparent. I hate talking to myself. I hate this. This is not my mode. This is not. This is why most of my shows, most of the things I'm involved with, there are other people. I don't like to listen to and hear myself talk. I like to actually listen, and then I like to be able to conceptualize what is being said, and then be able to ask some very curious questions about how they're coming up with that, how you're concluding to that, how that plays, how that works, and hey, how that's working for you. I think one of the biggest things is how is that working for you. And so I will definitely say to people who are interested and even being a guest on the Black Marriage and Family Show. Think about that. I mean, I think that it is an opportunity to kind of share your story and at the same time have myself and the team of clinicians and relationship personnel professionals, personnel really talk about and evaluate what's happening, how it's happening, and some best practices that maybe as a family, as a couple, as individuals, you can use to change that dynamic of what what is happening to you and your family. So I throw that out there definitely to people. So thinking about if you're interested, getting in contact with me, saying, "Hey, these are some of the things I want to be able to do and try to work out with my family." So again, the places that you can definitely watch us live um, will be at the Fatherhood Think Tank Facebook page, um, my live page, um, and the Fatherhood Think Tank YouTube page. That's on Tuesday nights for Fatherhood Think Tank, and then you can go over to um, the Mentor Educator Therapist and Black Father YouTube page, um, as well as my personal um, Facebook page to watch or participate in the Black uh, Marriage and Family show. I mean, come by. I really hate that. I really hate that word show because it's not people's lives are not shows. I know that we kind of practice that now, where we have this idea that look, let's get our cameras out, let's videotape it, then let's analyze and talk about how these people and what happened to them, and that'll be a great show. To me, it's not a show. People's lives are not a show. What happens to people are serious things that, in some point, we really, as human beings, should at some point always come back and try to, as much as possible, support each other. In many instances in life, we are really all we have. I say this all the time. We all we got, and some of us may say, "Hey, we're not thinking about that. We think we'd rather be an island on our own. We giving up on people. We giving up on certain things." And I would just say, you know, maybe you haven't found your tribe, but don't give up because your tribe is still out there. And when you find them, they will be the benefit to you that you need. So I always stand. Hey, if you know me, as most people do, I may get rowdy, I may get loud, I may get passionate, but I'm always staying hopeful because I believe that if you can stay hopeful, if you can stay positive, if you can stay optimistic, you can make change. And when I mean change, I don't mean people changing. I mean you can make modifications and accommodations to what is happening, not just in your world, but in other people's world. It's like this idea of a room full of light bulbs, and they're all dark because that's how they're operating. And to be able to have someone to walk in who clearly can light up all the other light bulbs is an example of what I'm talking about, how I kind of see that and display and put it into practice. So I say that very much. Like, born, where you at, brother? I mean, did you get the link? Are you somewhere you can't come on? I see you looking here, just going through a couple of things. This is the night to getting people on to just kind of talk about what's coming up for the future, and kind of give a better example, because I want people to please share this video and share this information, so when we do. Hold on. Let me go to the comments. I see we got to get some of these comments on here. And again, folks, I say all the time, bear with us, bear with me tonight, because of normal circumstances, I have the crew, and they could talk, and I could be back behind the scenes running this operation. Um, right now, it's just me, you know, and it was about making a commitment to come on because I've been saying I'm going to do it. I got to get back. I miss it. Other people, we miss it. When are we getting back? When are we getting back? And you can just, and this is a perfect example. Sometimes you can just keep procrastinating. And I made a decision. I say, yo, April is going to be here, and I'm not going to wait to, next thing I was like, oh, wait to June. That's when we started last. No, I'm not doing. I stopped that. Listen, let's get this ball on the ground, because as I look at, and again, we're on social media. We're operating through social media, right? When I look at things on social media, I have so many complaints. Um, and not complaints like I'm mad and angry complaints. I have complaints where there's a role that I believe that myself and this platform and the people who I associate myself with need to push ourselves into the algorithm to because I think that we are everyday working people, living, breathing. Um, what what we're doing and how we're living is not special. It is human. It's an everyday human thing. It's not for likes. It's not for dollars. It's not for. It's human beings living life, doing what they have to do to survive. and to live the life we live. So that's definitely one of the things that I'm looking at, um, and planning to, as the facilitator of this platform, and bringing the creative, and even and this is a good part I like to say. I'm not going to say everybody has to be like-minded, but I think we have to have the same goal in mind, is, to be the betterment of us as human beings. And I hate, I'm gonna say human beings, but when I really think of it, the betterment of us as Black people, as Black Americans, who in many instances, in my opinion, people can disagree, and that's fine. Who who have fixed a lot of what I think many people could never even begin to face, and still be here. Our power, our struggle, our life, our present life, and where we are, and still facing adversities, and ideas of some people, you know, trying to check us, boo. I just use that. People trying to check us, and trying to, um, belittle our character, belittle our intelligence, belittle our life with something. Oh my God. Oh, do I see this guy? Yes, this is what I'm talking about. One of the best men to do it, and this is my partner. Let me hold on. Let's make you equal to me, because I don't want you to be. I want you to be. Because this is my uh, this is my age brother. We brothers are the same age. so, so good night, Rohan. Good night. It's been so long, my brother. I know it's been long. I'm glad that you came on. How have you been?
All right, Ron. I've been focusing. I mean, so far so good. Going through the journey, trying to support the kids the best way I can.
Yeah.
Or
So
young.
I just to give you, I know you probably read the back channels information I sent out, but this is really, uh, the reason I sent, this is really today is two shows being presented, to get started, and I'm glad that you came on, so I wouldn't have to sit here and continue to talk by myself, because me and you can just start having some serious conversations about things that will take us into, as I look at the time clock, will take us into the next 30 minutes that we need, and it will really be, something that is vital
Yes.
into what we're talking about. Again, let me say this before. People, please, if you're on those platforms, like, share, subscribe. Especially go to the YouTube, go to the Facebook pages. Let's get those pages up and running, because if you're able to do that, and as you do that, um, we can then, get things running from that platform. We're coming back, folks. I mean, if you know us from the past, we used to have this thing running like, a speed train. It was back to back, running, running, running. And it's like in everything, people have to take care of life, transition. I had to move, get a new job, develop a whole new life. Or not too much of a new life, but transition. Uh, but as I know that in the conversations, I think great conversations I've had with Rohan over the last months, and from a lot of people, they really missed fatherhood. They really missed the opportunity to come onto a platform and be able to just blow out, and be able to hear other fathers, talk about things, and be able to kind of like discuss those things. So, I'm so glad that you are here,
Yes.
Rohan, tonight. So, um, since we're here, so any relevant things, Rohan, that's been irking you? Are you been? Because I know you always come up with some stuff, man. When I talk to you, stuff that's going on in our communities. That and you also one of those brothers who definitely sometimes have information that people really should think about because you are. Listen, if Rohan, listen, let me tell you something. If I had opportunity, Rohan don't have no law degree, but definitely
So, listen,
he a good lawyer. He a good lawyer. I tell you, he
right?
a good lawyer. Look, he look like a lawyer. Don't he look like a barrister from England. Look at them
This
glasses. Um,
disclaimer right here. Disclaimer. Disclaimer. I'm not a lawyer. I want to make that clear.
I didn't say. Yeah, let's don't get it wrong. He's not a lawyer, but
We
I'll tell you this, folks.
advocate.
He is a darn good a person who, as I say, as people used to do in the old days, go observe, learn, and then practice.
Yes.
We worked a lot of cases. We gave a lot of fathers information,
Mhm.
uh, not so much legal, but legal minded
Yes.
about things that they could do and how they could, really not fight for their children, but advocate for their children. And that was one of our biggest things, and not one of our. That is one of our. Let me. I keep talking in the past tense, but we are live in the present tense, and we're still we're still pushing, and we still. I mean, I know my phone don't stop ringing, and then I end up passing it on to Rohan or
Right. Mhm.
somebody else who's in the area to really be able to pinpoint some of those issues and help brothers out with becoming 24/7 dads at the best possibility. And that's so important. I mean, even for myself, I mean, I'm still in a good fight to advocate, and as I continue to do that, at some point, you can vary different ways. You can say, forget about it. It's not my fight because it's not my issue. Or you can come back and say, hey, listen, I'm going to do what I can,
Yes.
how I can, to at least be right on my side. At least if I'm right on my side, I can't fight City Hall, but I sure can sit down in front of City Hall, and they'll have to recognize I'm outside.
Absolutely. One of the things that's been on the rise around is stress. You know, it's something that I'm seeing with many of our African American fathers and the fathers in general. And just to add, it's important if we could learn how to manage stress. Many people tell you you need to what's the word that they talk cope with stress, but having a skill to manage stress and manage feelings is something that needs to be taught and needs to be practiced because many people in times like in our political climate, in our economic climate, those are issues that needs to be addressed in more ways than one.
Mhm.
And many families need that. Not only the fathers, everyone in the household needs to manage stress. Take that time out for well-being for themselves. Yeah, so that's
Well,
all.
I mean, I think that can, if we're talking in the fatherhood sense, that goes back to why I'm saying that these two platforms that development is so close because that same stress. Have you thought about it? Sometimes the stress that we develop and have can happen because of the relationships, because of our children, because of being
Hmm.
in this relationship with our partner, our the partner that we're not with, that we have to partner with because of our children. Being able to be in new relationships and have children and our partner's children. The all of these things can be stressful for not just you, but it can be stressful for mothers of children, fathers of children, children themselves. Stressful for step dads and step moms.
Hmm.
Um, it can be one of these things where you're looking and saying, hey, how is this working out? But what you're finding out is that it's not working out because guess what we're not doing? We're not really communicating. We're just kind of
Right.
going through the motions. We're not really saying how we really feel. I'll tell you that personally, and even in my own life, I have a very clear way of saying things that that I feel that is transparent. And if you let me say this, I don't know if you have seen this Pop the Balloon show. Have you seen this, Ron, anywhere? People have these balloons and they come in a line of, and that people talk and they ask questions. They pop the balloon.
Oh yes,
Uh,
it is once. Yeah, yeah.
you've seen some of that, right? So I watched some of that, and I find it very intriguing of how that operates because I'm interested in relationships, how people establish relationships, how they come into the conclusion of picking mates, and how that occurs. And I realized that many times when you have the contestants on or the person on and they say something that's truthful, maybe they don't know. And this is the problem. They say something that's truthful for them, and other people are offended by it. It becomes almost an offense, and then they say, "Hey, I don't like this person. Oh, let me pop the balloon because you said something to this person, and you could have found another way to say it." But again, do we all know how to say things in a correct way? Not always. I mean, look, if you tell somebody, you're not my type, and you ask them, "Hey, why you not your type?" Oh, because he got on some some tight jeans. I mean, jeans can be changed. I mean, I think that and again, I'm bringing this up to talk about the learned behavior that occurs. So people begin to watch these things, think that this is how things go, and they learn the behavior to begin. I've seen so many. I've seen a lot of those shows, man. I think about how there are people who will pop their balloon because they didn't like something that a person said, how they said it. But I was saying, didn't like what the person said about another contestant, a man or a woman, whatever. And I would say that, hey, yo, this is a competition. If it's a competition for you to find a person for you, not for you to be a bleeding heart for other people who, here's the reality of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
What the person might have said at that moment will be the same thing they say behind their back in the back of the dressing room. Look
Wow.
at his shoes. Look at feet. So the guy comes out, he might say that. And you too crass, you too sassy, you too rude. You could have found you that you didn't have to say. But you said it. You saying it, but you're just not saying it to her because guess what? You're not looking to be in a relationship with her. But you're looking to, if somebody says something so interesting, and I want to say that I have to concur with this is it's gonna be powerful. Sometimes you can't tell women the truth. And I'm just saying that as a man, sometimes you can't tell women the truth. I
That's
believe overall, many people can't tell people the truth. I think some women can't tell men the truth.
or they choose not to tell the truth because
Huh?
the truth will come out eventually. So if you
Right,
don't
exactly. Yeah, and sometimes it's better to tell the truth up front because
first,
if you have an opportunity to deal and be with a person, you can work on that. You can work from that truth.
it,
You can't work from a lie. It's a big thing I tell people all the time. You can work from the truth, but you can't work from a lie. A lie doesn't go forward. It only keeps going backwards because
right,
backwards is where it started. So everything you said before the lie, everything you say after the lie has no validity because it's not real.
it's not real.
Only thing you can do is tell some more lies
There we go.
to try to cover the original lie. I mean, and does that allow you to work out an issue? Does that allow you to get to a place? Like, listen, if I
if you
tell you the truth and you don't like it, that's one thing. If I tell you the truth and I say, well, we can still work on it, that's another. I mean, would you want to hear? But I realize that sometimes people don't want to hear the truth. Their ego, defense mechanism come in play. Sometimes people tell you about, you might not like it, but somebody else do. And yeah, well,
uh, if you look at that in the context of a relationship, a lot of people play games, and that's how it is. That's the nature of the beast, so to speak. But we know if in a real solid healthy relationship, you tell the truth up front. You start out with the truth. How you start is how you finish most times. So if you start with start with lies, you're going to continue lying. If you start with the truth, it may go in a better direction, but most times it's better to tell the truth. Yeah,
Right.
most times in the end, yeah.
Well, I mean, again, some people out here saying, "Hey, they better not tell the truth because the truth hasn't been shown to set them free."
There we go.
It's kind of tied them up. So it is, that is a something that at some point we might have to and really think about and begin the process in many instances. So
To have healthy relationships and healthy conversations. These things are traits that must be learned, and many of us have stuff that we can unlearn. Things that have not benefited us in many ways. So it's up to the individual to make that change and to say, I want to do
right,
something different. I don't want to do what I've been doing. That hasn't worked. So let me try something different. So that's how that works sometimes. Let's say the topic here run about black marriage and family. That's it. You said that's a show.
no, that's not no.
That's all
Oh, I
about.
didn't tell you. Tuesday night.
Right.
Tuesday night is when we'll have fatherhood and the other platform. And this goes into what you even suggested that we need to have a little bit more something for both men and women to be able to work on relationships and looking at relationships and family. So I'm developing like that show I had therapy Thursday. I was
Right. Yes.
doing there. It's in this theme of that, but it's only going to focus on black marriage and family issues.
Okay.
So, really kind of directly dealing with the issues that affect us as married people, as people in partnerships, people in relationships, how it affects our family, how all of that works for us as black people, being indifferent to the main society. I know a lot of times we'll say, "Oh, we just like them, and we face and deal with the same thing." And I think sometimes that is also a big delusion that we have that we live the same way. We go and have the same. We buy the same wedding dresses. We
Mhm.
go and get the same wedding rings. We spend all the same money for the same type of stuff. But fundamentally, sometimes how marriage works for us is not how it works for other people. Um, and
That's
sometimes our marriages are not even by choice; they're by, they're by consequence,
like
right?
Mhm.
So that makes it way more of an issue. Like you're having a marriage because you got to, and it goes back into fatherhood. Sometimes we have a lot of fathers not, again, my research, my whole dissertation was about fatherhood. And a big part of it is understanding that what are some of the consequences and what has happened with non consensual fatherhood and that we don't even talk about. We don't even acknowledge. We don't even recognize that. Oh, there's a such thing as non-consensual fatherhood. That fathers would not consent to be a father. I thought only women would not consent to be a mother. But there are. I think that is what people would want you to believe if you believe in patriarchy. So it's one of these things. If you believe in patriarchy, where you would kind of like believe that men run everything, so they control and they dominate what occurs and so they need to be responsible for everything. But then also in saying that means that you believe that they should control everything. They should control you, your property, part you should do what they want, all these things. So we kind of measure it out. And so, big part of again, as I always talk about, a big part of my research was finding out that a large majority of men that we've came in contact over the last 10 years, when we evaluate their successfulness in being a father, their engagement of being a father, and how it can work, has a lot to do with was the pregnancy that they had with the mother of the child consensual. And I know that can be confusing, but consensual is very clear. If you did not plan, I mean, it's a very simple model that I share. Maybe on another show time, I probably put that in play. But the way it kind of operates is that fathers, men, You have quite a few categories. You have married men. You have men who are separated, divorced, fathers. You have um,
Single guys.
single guys who, and you begin to be able to look at the level of consenting. So the highest level, the most successful fathers, most of the time, are fathers who consented for their child, consented to have children. That means that that's not just something they did, but they also did that along with the mother, making a plan and saying how we was going to do it, what was going to happen, and that what finances was going to be needed, what sacrifices on both parts was going to be needed, what type of rearrangement to understand how their relationship would be affected by this um,
Child.
by this bringing on a new life into the world. And it's funny because I seen some friends of mine this past weekend who had three sons, right? And I remember joking with them when they had the first son and said, "Okay, y'all good, y'all gonna be okay, because y'all can manage and handle that one child." Then when they had second child, I joked with them more and said, "Hey, listen, y'all now y'all in a tag team match. So now y'all got two of them, it's two of y'all, and y'all gotta be a better team because they gonna whip y'all down." And then they had another child. I say, y'all in a mismatch wrestling match. They got a third man coming out the back room with the chair on y'all. And you got to man, and we joked about it because the wife was saying, yeah, when you told me that, I never, it was a joke when I was saying it, but she was like, you was right about that third child. You ain't, and this was just, again, you know, wishful conversation, hopeful conversation, because I was at that time I was telling them, supporting them, and I know how difficult it was to just be managing two children. And we're not talking about people struggling. These people, the husband's like a lawyer, and the wife is, she has a successful job. They're not like people, hucking and pucking. They planned to have their children. They planned them out. They did the whole thing, but it still was difficult. So if you think the people who is planned, who have a schedule, who organize and structured is hard, imagine for people who don't have any
Any.
interest. They had no plans. Actually, this kid has ultimately changed the whole trajectory of how their life is going to be and what's going to happen in their life. Because of this, you don't see the same kind of engagement, the same kind of successfulness that you would see and vice versa, and all the things that happen in between. So that's, I think in some later time I will really present that scale, that continuum, that to people, because I think that's a powerful um, a piece to be able to show to people how our relationships. So, here, let me just, yeah. So it's the fatherhood spectrum. So I forgot to tell you. Okay, so on that spectrum, you have the married husband. So married husband, give you, and then this is the consensual side. This is the consensual side. He a father who is in a legal recognized marriage with the child's other parent. So what you find is some of the things that come with being that married. You have legal rights. That you and the kids stay in the same household, and then there's the custodial parentship that you share with the other parent. On the next side of that scale, going towards non-consensual, is the single, generic parent. That means that's a parent that comes from divorce, being widowed. So those are fathers, and the child, other parents are no longer married. Our father's spouse has passed away. In that case, you definitely see, at some point there is some. The number one thing on that list is child support. Child support, alimony is there. Legal rights are challenged. Sometimes you are in the same household if it's widowed, but it's sometimes part time based on divorce. Um, married to the child's mother has a benefit of having some years of developing relationship and looking at that how to operate, and then you still have that custodial rights, the custodial things there. The one next to that, getting closer to non-consensual, is partners. So that's like a boyfriend dating situation
Mhm.
where the father is in a relationship with the child's other parent. So they're not married; they're just in a relationship. They might have been dating. Um, some of the issues that come with that is them being non-residential, so they don't live in the same place. Child support comes as a major part because when people not together, need, you know, sometimes it may be in the same house. A lot of times not. You also see the idea of little or no contact between child and fathers. Teenagers, this happens a lot for teenagers, and they become the ones who. So you're looking at teenage pregnancy, and how these people who really don't sometimes even know each other that well now have a kid with each other, and you see that not, sometimes it can work, but a lot of times it's not because it's getting close to that non-consensual part. And then you see the idea of having to have paternity tests, the stress of paternity tests, the ideas. Mothers and married and married the child's mothers. So you might marry the child's mother because you have a child. We know when that happens, that can always be an interesting dynamic to like marry the child's mother, and then this child a lot of times now is out of wedlock. This child has came out of wedlock, so you're looking at that. And then the last part that is on the far end of non-consensual is involving the idea of intimacy and sexuality. Um, so it's more about intimacy, sexuality. I mean, sexual, and they're single. Is single people. Fathers, father is not in the relationship with the child's other parent, so he may not even know. He may know. He may, whatever. You look at this as most of this is non-residential. Fathers do not live. Child support is going to be there. Little to no contact. Uh, openly rebuts occur. Teenagers, this is also teenage type of thing that can happen.
Mhm.
Paternity tests, out of wedlock, and a lot of times you end up seeing some of these facts turned into termination of parental rights. So if that is the two where when you look at the fatherhood spectrum of consensualness of relationships, of having children, that goes to play. And that was, I mean, and I say that, Rohan, because that was like one of the biggest thing found from my research. The biggest thing that, and I mean, and again, you was there. You was there. You were a part of your pictures in the dissertation with a big smile on. Not that this is about you, but
Right.
but
Okay.
most of this work was done in the time that we were doing the fatherhood mentorship program, and what the things I really learned from that and my experiences based on um, what we found about what fathers really needed and how a strength-based approach to fathers would strongly help them engage into the program that would then help them to get re-engaged with their children. And I think that was, I mean, all I can say is to that in many instances. So again, let me say this: we have about how much? So right now, look like we got 20 minutes. Again, if you're interested in coming on, leaving a message, trying to get on the platform, have some conversation with me and Rohan. Again, this tonight is the return of Fatherhood Think Tank on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock, and the new show Black Marriage and Family that will be on Thursday nights. And I see in the chat down here on Facebook, I see one of our future guests on here. She's going to be coming on. She has a fantastic book dealing with uh, relationships after divorce. I'm going to keep it hush because I don't like to blow things up. But the idea of how we handle our relationships after divorce, with our children, just also with that partner, and that is very different than what I think mass media, what a society kind of shows us how we should handle divorce and when divorce happens. Because again, a lot of times divorce happens after so much pain and agony, and so people got to feel like they got to get back, they got to get their stuff their way or what they want, and so sometimes it is a lot more painful than we want it to be. So looking at that, um, Rohan, if you had to say, in your mind, what one of the biggest topics affecting families, black families right now today, what would you think it would be?
Hmm. Very good question. Uh, Topics that affects African American families. That's There's so much, but one of the things that I've always said is communication, and it may not be on the front burner, but it can sure resolve. It can resolve, and it can empower. Meaning, resolve an issue, empower someone to grow. So many folks will talk about different situations, finances, in-laws, housing, housing, jobs. Those are what people talk about every day. But communication, good communication, can improve all those areas in African American families, and the ability to grow, to work together, to grow for a common goal. Those are things that need to be discussed.
Mm. And you make a really good, a great point about that, because so much of what we sometimes deal with is the unknowing, or not being exposed, or having some type of issue with where we are and what we're doing, and that it plays so much.
Yes, it does, and most of the time we vent, we don't communicate. Venting is it's like that balloon you mentioned. You burst the balloon and all the air that comes out. But communicate is to come to an understanding. Venting is yes, venting is important, but communicating is and communicating for a solution is even better. And the
Right.
solution we may not all agree on the solution, but it's a solution that can solve a problem
Mhm.
or a issue, and it can be applied to most of the issues that African American families face, and is about to face with the changes in our political climate.
Yeah, well, I think that I mean, I think about last night I was on a call, and one of the big things that came up was housing. Like housing is a big issue. I know in South Florida, housing is a big issue. But maybe housing might be changing, right? Housing might be changing when all the Canadians decide to leave South Florida, um,
Yeah, yeah,
give up their cribs, so then people can start moving up. You can move up from wherever you was living. People was living one place, start moving into those Canadian snowbird houses, and then the housing can move to, somebody else. But I think that that's always going to be the greed of South Florida, New York
yeah.
City, these major cities, New York, California, and
Well,
Miami. I mean, you kind of call it like it is. Those are places that people want to be. It's the big place. It's popping. Oh, DC. So
it's gonna be costly. It's gonna be costly to get in, and there have been some changes, and uh, most of the time housing is a big challenge.
right. Yeah, I definitely hear that. So I mean, we looking at things like that, man. That definitely are some of the major. major issues and concerns that go into play, and how people can even try to find out what they need. Like, you know,
Well,
and again, we're doing all of this and managing all this on top of dealing with the world we live in and how the world treats us. You
mhm,
know, we it's not like we just chilling over here, chilling over here, shaking a leg.
mhm.
But definitely there is this point of how we're living that becomes something that people are kind of like really popping.
Yeah. I always say to my families, try to be of value. You can be reliable, but being of value holds more water. When you're of value, people find you and find your services and what you can offer. Being reliable is like moving from point A to point B. There are many things that we can look at, look within ourselves to improve.
Yeah. So uh, let's talk about some fun stuff, bro. I mean, I know we didn't
Okay,
wrap around, but
okay,
let's
all
talk
right.
about let's talk about you popping the balloon.
Look,
I know you got. I know. Have you popped any balloons lately? I mean,
okay. Oh,
pop the balloon. Have you found the person to pop the balloon on? Or that's
well, yeah. I mean,
Cause I know. I mean, I know you're a guy who kind of you got some and listen. Let's have that serious conversation as we are middle aged men, right? Middle aged men.
mhm,
You being a middle aged man who has two daughters,
right,
divorced. What is it that you're looking for? What are you expecting to find in a woman or a mate at this present time? Because I think that this is a good thing. Because you're average. You are what we would call the average man, right? You
right.
know, the average man, and I focus on what the real world is to me is working class average. I consider myself a working class average man. I don't. I
All right,
work. I have an average life. I'm not. I may do some things, but I'm not. Whatever these people are. I'm not high valued at all. I don't believe in such thing. I don't
okay,
have high. I have values that's
right.
high, but I'm not high value. So
Okay.
I'm not a commodity.
And
Um,
that is in the eyes of the beholder
what
to some
happened?
extent. That is in the eyes of the beholder because you can be of value to people around you,
Right,
so, but not necessarily value in the sense of cash wise or money wise, but value meaning that you you give golden nuggets to people who need it at that time. You get where I'm going with that? Even if it's 5 minutes, it's some
right.
value.
Yeah, well, and I definitely understand what you're saying. I definitely agree with what you're saying because a lot of people believe that high value has something to do with what you have, right?
Right.
I believe high value has a lot more to do with who you are,
The character. That's the
and
character
who
right
you
there.
are because, huh?
That's the character right there. Yeah. The character is the
Right.
value.
Well, and I wear it. Listen, I wear this on my arm every day. I took it out. Once I got all my stuff out of storage and I found this bracelet. It says a man's strength is in his character, right? And when you wear certain things, a lot of people say, "Hey, man, you wear a lot of jewelry. And you got all this jewelry on." I remember one time he told me about the jewelry I got on right now. I told him, "Be careful, man. You got that gold jewelry on."
Well, that was out of concern for safety.
Right, right. You said, "Hey, you got that gold jewelry on, man. Be careful. What can happen to you." And in many instances, yes, something could happen. Um, but my jewelry it has messages. So if somebody was to, they might take it and just try to go and pawn it or whatever they would try to
Right.
do, but they would get the messages from the jury. So when they get it, they would get it and they would have it, and they would have to see the message on it, the messages in it.
Yeah.
And if they have it, again, we understand some people don't have any conscience or they don't have it, but at some point
Correct.
you would say, "Oh man, look, I stole this man's. I got this. I got this Malcolm X pen that he had."
Right. Yeah.
You got to think about like it ain't like a gun or some kind of symbol or a diamond, whatever. This is a Malcolm X,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
thinking pose of Malcolm X. So when you get it, you got to kind of put something in your brain immediately and be like, "Oh snap! I just stole a Malcolm X from somebody. I just jacked the man from Malcolm X." And so these are and again, we gotta hope that any person even knows Malcolm X or even care who Malcolm X
Right.
is. That
Exactly.
that's a part. I'm taking that lightly. That they care or know.
Mhm.
Um, but that's the way I kind of look at things. Like my value and what it means, and when you look for a partner, when you're saying you're looking for a partner, and I know you're trying to get off the hook, and
Right.
I
No,
have
no,
a
partner.
question
Mhm.
because you let me continue to talk and talk and talk.
Yeah, well, I was going to actually say it. The, you mentioned as a middle-aged male. Uh, we are, I could say, experienced male, somewhat of an educated male. Your your choice becomes very difficult because when you're much younger, we know there our bodies our bodies have that sense to want to reproduce or want to have fun or want to be around. Mind you, we still have that at a middle age, but now you have experience, you have knowledge. So
Mm,
you're not just gonna, what I use the term, fall in love. You're gonna stand in love,
mm,
and that's a different scenario, yeah. And as the fisherman says, not every fish you catch you eat. Some fish you gotta throw back in the water, yeah. So hey, right? So those scenarios, simple said, you want someone, you want like a partner, you want someone you can relate to, talk to, someone who have some similar interests and some similar goals. Because let's be real, if you get 80-20, hey, that's good, but you definitely may not want to take 40-60, if you get what I mean. So you just enjoy life and have a smile and live, love, and laugh until the whistle blows.
mhm.
That's what I say.
Yeah, I dig that so much, man. Um, that's why I love to hear you. I love to hear the old country wisdom that you have, man. I know you from the countryside,
Yeah, right.
and you have so much of that country wisdom that is what people need to hear that they forgot about. You know, every
They,
fish you catch, you
they
can
were
eat.
they weren't learn. They didn't learn one. They didn't learn. So
Right,
we bring
right. And so again, that's what makes what we do so important. It's not that we're going to actually teach them, but at least we're able to give them an opportunity to hear a conversation to expose them.
yeah.
Even in this conversation me and you are having, people are being exposed. A little bit they may listen to, a little bit they may hear, they're being exposed to um, just two average black men having a conversation and not being pretentious. I mean, when I usually see any black men on platforms and they're having conversations, they're being very pretentious, and they have a direct mission that they want to screw our
Or
state. They're there
yeah.
basically they're like a soldier ready to fight their war. I don't have a war. I mean, I'm just trying to survive the
Mhm,
war that people are having. I'm getting these stray bullets, and I ain't even got no gun.
mhm, mhm, mhm. That's the truth. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's something that, and then imagine. So we have a little bit of knowledge. We understand that. We process a lot of that. We spend our time working and
Mhm,
doing this work and on this kind of platform. But but check out how the way that everybody else kind of operates and what they got going on. they may not have the same stuff going on in the same way.
Well, I always say, some folks have up to up to 100 stress. Some folks are walking around. I think you've said it many times. Many folks are walking around with a bag with a bunch of stress. They're just carrying that weight around every day. That just that weight. That is just that backpack with a bunch of stuff. And, you just got to learn how to deal with that. Just put it down, like you
Yeah.
always say. Put it down and continue to live.
And let's talk about what happens when you look right now. My eye is over here jumping. Well, let's talk about what happens when you have that stress, man. I think that a lot of us, especially when you start looking at our age group, in our age group, and again, our age group is many some of the men and women are like being grandparents now.
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, they grandparents. I mean, at this point, grandparents, and I'm talking about people even younger than us are already grandparents.
Oh, yeah. Wait, I see that.
Um, and you start, and hell, they got three to four generations still. So their parents are still alive, their child, and now their new grandchild. So their parents still alive. Now, listen, I know somebody who who
Mhm.
grandmother's alive, their mother's alive, they alive, their child alive, and their grandchild.
Whoa.
That's
Okay.
five generations right there, brother.
Yeah, yeah.
Five generations of a family,
My family. Mhm.
right in that space, man. And you start saying, hey, how's that? How? And this person I'm talking about, she's married with a
Mhm.
husband. They have a very successful business that they operate.
Mhm.
And when I say successful, when I say successful, I mean a working class business because they
Right.
work jobs and they have they're not entrepreneurs in the sense that people are saying entrepreneurs
Right.
because entrepreneurs have to work somewhere to get the capital to entrepreneur. You
Yes.
don't just start entrepreneuring and have the money. I mean, I mean, maybe people know that, maybe they don't. I mean, there's always a way to make quick money, whatever, but um, you got to have something sustainable. And they have sustain. They have a base source of jobs and money where they get their money from, and then from there they push to the next level where they got popping. So that's definitely a big part for me to recognize and see that within people. So um, Rohan, I give you we're coming up at the end.
Mhm.
Any last thoughts, man? Any well wishes for upcoming season? I don't want to even say season. The upcoming return of Fatherhood Think Tank.
Well, I would say, come and check us out. Sometimes I can be a bit serious, but come and check us out. We have golden nuggets we can give to you. We can give you something. You can take 5 minutes in our program and can walk away with so much information. So come check out the Fatherhood program, Fatherhood Think Tank, and see what if something is there for you. Invite your friends. We all need some form of support along the journey, and use it as your wellness. Your wellness doesn't mean you have to exercise. You can come and sit down and exercise your mind, learn something new. Um, Post a chat. We will answer you, or we'll get someone who can respond to you. So that's what I would say to the people out there. Don't be afraid to reach
Yeah,
out.
yeah. That's a really good point, Rohan. And I can't do nothing but echo what he's saying. I know that many people say, "Hey, man, I ain't about to watch no show for 90 minutes." Um, you know what I'm saying? I don't got time for that or whatever. But you don't even have to watch 90 minutes. Come on to the show. A lot of times things get popping in the first 3 minutes,
Mhm.
depending on what the topic is, one thing. And you can hear some things that could really answer and benefit you, not just fathers, but mothers,
Mhm.
children, adult children who thinking about what happened with their father and their mother. And this is not just a show for. This is not just something for men. It is for the whole family. Hence the reason why I developed the and put together the Black Marriage and Family show that will be the follow up on Thursday nights. Um, to really be able to address people and all types of people. And the key part of this show is to highlight the successful Black marriage and family dynamics. Because we're too busy showing, are being shown, are being conditioned the dysfunctions. And also explaining why those dynamics are important. As it says, you see right there on the screen, join us Facebook Live on my Facebook page, Fatherhood Think Tank page on and our the YouTube page. And then also you can watch um, Black Marriage and Family on the Mentor Education Therapist and Black Father YouTube live page. Um, is definitely something that you can take a look at.
Tell your friends. Tell your friends. Send a chat. We will respond. It's going
Yeah,
to be
I
on.
mean, and again, if you wanna, and I say this all the time. Hey, if you want to be able to come on to the show and you want to just come on the show and be able to say, hey, I want to come on the show. I want to come on the show and be able to ask questions and do this and do that. Hey, we welcome that. Man. We welcome it. We welcome. If you want to be a guest and maybe even talk about your own experience, these kind of things is what I feel is important because everything shouldn't have to be this dramatic production
Yeah,
that
yeah,
people
relax.
leave there going, looking for viral moments to bring somebody down or put somebody in a place or get a laugh. I think that we do a lot of laughing. Sometimes we need to do a lot of uh, thinking. So that's why the think tank comes, and then we need to do to be able to see what's going on Black Marriage and Family on Thursday nights. Do a lot of presenting of that successful dynamic. With that being said, man, Rohan, thanks, man, for saving me from having to be on here all night by myself, man.
No, no, no problem, man. We're here. We're here.
If I know of a brother, if you got it, you'll be here. You'll come and get my back and hold me up tight. Again, but I had to get this started again. If I didn't come and start this cycle, if I didn't come and start the show this month, it probably would have never got running. So I did it. We're back. We're going to be back. Once I have this now, that puts me back in the mind to sit down, right? Because folks, I don't know if you know this. This ain't just like making a live video. This is live, but there's a lot of back room chippy chippy chop top kind of things going on. And I mean, I don't even know if we was. I mean, I know that we was running on the Facebook pages, but I don't know if we was running on. Well, I do know we was running on one of the. Um, we was running on one of the YouTube pages. So if we was running on one, we was running on both. And it's not cheap. I gotta pay for this stuff, man. So
Yeah, yeah, right.
So like, share, subscribe so you can join us, know when we're coming on, know what we're doing. Remember, Tuesday night, Fatherhood Think Tank. Thursday night, uh, Black Marriage and Family with yours truly, the mentor, educator, therapist, Dr. Ron. And you will see all of my colleagues like Brother Rohan coming
Mhm.
on the platform as we have these panel discussions, mainly about topics and really being able to kind of like be a think tank for the Black community. And that, with that being said, um, you know, love, peace, happiness, and I'll see you on Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, Fatherhood Think Tank, and then on Thursday night, 7 o'clock, Black Marriage and Family.
There we
Good
go.
night.
Good night. Take care, everyone. We'll talk.